Great to have you.
Thank you so
Winston.
much for inviting me.
Wonderful. I mean, the one thing every student likes to know is, oh my gosh, what is it like to work at Googleplex on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, it's been an amazing journey for me. I've been there 10 years now, and I'm still very, very excited about Google. I think Google does really a lot to create a culture of innovation and make that thrive and grow even as the organization gets, older in age. We're not really a startup anymore. Many people think Google's a big company now, but yet we still have that very startup drive and energy about the company. And there are some specific things that Google does really well to maintain that culture around having a really strong mission that everybody relates to, a mission that endures the test of time. And everybody knows Google's mission is to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible. And so what that means is your job is never really done, and there's always more to do. Google is an organization that really takes transparency very seriously, and so transparency really helps make everyone feel part of the organization and feel like they can get access to information that they need to do their job successfully and ask tough questions of the executives. So that way it's a very open culture. And then everyone has a voice in the organization, everyone has the opportunity to speak up. Dissent is encouraged, and we make sure that all perspectives are heard and in some way, shape or form become part of the solution. And lastly is the space, much like this campus, which has a lot of open collaborative space. Google has a lot of that too. And we take great pride in making the workplace fun as well. And so I would say all these things, make it really, really enjoyable to work at Google, even though I've been there for such a long time.
I mean, we're in one of the top business schools in Europe, and let alone Germany, of course. I can imagine that a lot of students will love, at some point in their careers, work at Google's. What would they have to bring to the table?
Yeah, well, first I would love to say that Germany is a growing market, and we're always looking to hire German speakers.
Okay, sounds good.
All of your students should actually seriously consider working for Google, and there are tons of great jobs, and I think Germany is a massively growing economy that Google is trying to grow along with. So there's plenty of scope and opportunity in terms of what Google looks for when hiring. We really focus on 4 things, right? The first thing is what we call cognitive ability, right? So are you able to take a problem and break it down into its component parts and come up with reasonable solutions for it, right? Mm-hmm. So in MBA schools, I think a lot of people are familiar with the case prep process. Mm-hmm. Like let's say you were going after a consulting job, and how to take a case, like a problem statement, break it down into its component parts, do some analysis, do some synthesis, and then come up with a reasonable set of assumptions and decision tree around how you might solve that problem. So I think that is a key component of any Google interview. The second piece is that we look for people's leadership qualities and capabilities. And it's okay if you've never really actually worked in the working world. There's still plenty of opportunities to demonstrate leadership prior to your working life, right? So how is your approach to leadership, and how would you take certain leadership scenarios, and how would you work with that? The next thing that we look at is role-related knowledge. And again, if you're applying for a role that requires a certain amount of experience, and it's not a role for, say, someone fresh out of college, how much role-related knowledge we look for is different, right? But at a minimum, we expect you to kind of understand a little bit about the industry, about the problem space, and have a sense of what that job is, and really demonstrate your passion for it. So I would say, those 3 things are super important. the final thing is we like any other company, we evaluate culture fit, right? So we want to make sure that when we bring someone into the organization, they are going to do well in our culture. And so that's something that we evaluate as well.
How do you develop your teams? I mean, you were referring to Google kind of staying a startup, though it's huge by now, and keeping up the spirit. And I guess that holds true for teams as well inside the organization.
How you bring people together is more important than the specifics of the outcome you're driving to. So enabling collaboration and supporting that is really, really helpful, building that sense of community. And the other one is vision and strategy. Every organization needs a vision, every organization needs a strategy to inspire and motivate. And that vision and strategy has to be fresh and refreshed ever so often, because you want to make sure that your company or your team is moving along with the pace of the industry and the business. And no team can be successful without a focus on execution and results.
Say one sentence for students of Frankfurt School to help them shaping their career. What's your advice?
I have so much advice to give on that topic.
You can't reduce yourself to one sentence, you mean?
I mean, I would say, look,
It's a journalistic approach. I'm sorry for
Yes.
that, because they want the buzz, but not not the substance.
I would say run your own race.
That's a cool one.
Run your own race. In life, you will see lots of people moving faster, moving slower, and in different directions. And it's easy to get caught up in the glitter and glamour of titles and jobs and position. But the best thing that you can do for yourself is take the time to find out what you are truly interested in and make the effort to give that a try. And it's okay if it doesn't work. You're young. You have a career that is about 40 years in today's world, so you're really running a marathon. But choose very carefully and be thoughtful about where you build skills, capabilities, competency, and the kinds of jobs you want to do. Because ultimately, over your career, you want to string that together into something that is meaningful.
Winston Singh, again, it's a pleasure having you here, and it's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so
We're
much.
glad to have you here at Frankfurt School.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.